Jim Harbaugh has a new contract. Where have you heard that before? Well, probably on this show about this time 1 year ago. And it's not that he's got a totally new contract, it's that he's got a restructured contract. So let's get you up to speed. Like, what has happened here? If you've been, I don't know, on some 2-month cruise, well, it's been a very, very interesting last year, actually. So let's make it a year-long cruise. And congratulations to you. I don't know what contest you won. Coming out of 2020, December, January of 2020, it is literally 50-50 whether this guy's going to keep his job. He could walk away, he could be fired, who knows? Well, we all know how that ended. Jim Harbaugh and Michigan, they agreed to a restructured contract. He takes a reduced salary, and essentially it was, we're looking at Jim and saying, we don't want you to go, but if you stay here, some changes are going to have to be made because we got to toss some red meat over here to the folks who do want you gone. Jim Harbaugh agreed to it. Okay. All that followed was the best season he's had at Michigan to date. And they win the Big Ten, and they go to the college football playoff. You see the video here, shot exclusively on the iJosh, right there in the snow in front of God and everyone after they beat Ohio State. Well, we also remember what happened after the Big Ten championship game, and then they lose in the playoff, but they made the playoff. Well, then he tries to go get the Vikings job. I'll give him credit. He has spoken since then and said, I don't apologize for trying to do that. Now, you know, on this show, we didn't necessarily question that. The guy can do whatever he wants to. It's his life. I was echoing the sentiment of some people in the administrative and entertainment-based portion of our industry who had told me the big surprise was he actually allowed a public interview to be had. Normally, that's not the way it works at that level. So, be that as it may, that's the way it turned out. Well, then, he doesn't get the job. And he comes back, and now here we are for the second time in a little over a year. Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, headline again, they have agreed to a restructured contract. Only this time, Jim Harbaugh's the beneficiary because he's getting more money instead of less money. So here are the quick details, and then I'm going to tell you why some of this is very overblown, at least in my mind. A little over $7 million a year. That is the average salary, or that's the salary per year. So a little over $7 a year. Now there are some incentives here. He gets $500,000 for winning the division, gets $1 million if they win the Big Ten, $200K if they appear in a New Year's Six game, $500,000 if he makes the playoff, and $1 million if he wins the national title. He gets as much money for winning the Big Ten as he does the national title, by the way. I don't have a problem with that. It's just an interesting incentive structure. By far, the most notable part of this restructured contract was the buyout. There's a lot being made about this buyout. And to be clear, here's what the buyout is. It's $3 million in year one, and it reduces by $750,000 every year. That's not a whole lot of money. I don't know if you're aware of that, but yeah, let me sit here and tell you, wearing the same white t-shirt every week. $3 million, not a lot of money at all. What am I going to eat tonight? What flavor of ramen noodles will I eat tonight? But yeah, $3 million, not a whole lot of money. In this world, I'm serious, it's not a lot of money. Now, a lot has been made, as I said, of how low that number is. And I really couldn't care less about it for a couple of reasons. So I want you to follow me here because on the surface, if someone were to tell you, ooh, man, that buyout number's really low. So first off, it's going to be really easy for him to leave if someone wants him. And B, boy, that negative recruiting. Because someone's going to come in that living room and that 4-star wide receiver from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and they're going to say, your coach has a very low buyout. Are you confident he's going to be there in 4 years? Are you really that confident? I'll tell you a couple of things that people really didn't do. And they're called due and diligence. And what I mean by that is, did anyone even go so far as to take Jim Harbaugh's buyout and compare it to other coaches in America? Or even the Big Ten? I think you'd be shocked at what you'd find. But I'm not here to do that because we did not prepare that graphic. My fault. So what I am here to do is I'm here to tell you there are two other reasons why I don't really care about Jim Harbaugh's buyout, and I don't think it's really going to affect much of anything. It's probably a February headline that will be up in smoke by the time spring practice opens. Firstly, does anyone around here know what the main purpose of a college football buyout in a coach's contract is for? It ain't to keep you from going to the NFL. Let me spoil it for you. It's to keep you away from other college jobs. Everybody knows the billions, with a B, that the NFL is worth and a lot of those franchises are worth. Everybody knows that. There is no NFL franchise that would be deterred whether Jim Harbaugh's buyout was $3 million or $8 million. Nobody's going to be turned away if they want him to be their coach because of what number the buyout is. Secondly, let's talk about the college level. On what planet is Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan for another college job? Not this one. And this is the only one I plan on living on, and he plans on living on. Jim Harbaugh's not taking another college job. And if he wants to go to the NFL, it doesn't matter what the buyout is anyway, his buyout is probably one of the most irrelevant in all of major college football. So push that to the side. I don't really care about that. I am particularly interested in a lot of folks who think this is going to impact the program in terms of negative recruiting. Because I'll tell you, I think that's pretty irrelevant too. First thing I'd do if I were Jim Harbaugh is I'd probably be blunt and I'd say exactly what I just said. Second thing I would say is the coach is telling you that. What are their buyouts? And what's their history? You pulled up their Wikipedia? Have they been at the same job for 20 years? But you could have always said that. What about this added caveat that you can put, kind of a carrot on the end of the stick? Do you understand how irrelevant the transfer portal really makes this now? Do you understand that when a recruit comes to a program, even the ones who are wired correctly, they walk in the program, the door doesn't close. The door over here with the exit above it, that's the way recruiting works now. You walk in through the same door you've always walked in through. The difference is the door doesn't shut. It just stays open there. Now, maybe you never go back out, but you always know when you walk in, if I don't like it in this room, or if anything happens in this room that doesn't sit well with me, there's the door. It's going to be just as easy to go out as it was to come in. And so if I'm a player, if I am said 4-star receiver in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I'm set on Michigan, or even I'm 60-40, 55-45 in favor of Michigan, there's no one that's about to turn me off from making that decision because they tell me about my potential head coach's buyout. This stuff's very overblown to me. I challenge you. Now, I could be wrong, who knows, but I challenge anyone over the next recruiting calendar year to go find me a kid, whether it's publicized or behind the scenes, that you truly think Michigan missed out on because someone negative recruited and they specifically used Harbaugh's buyout figure. And that truly carried weight in the living room to the point where it deterred a kid from going to Michigan. I think it's overblown. I don't think that's the way that's going to happen.